Hello, everyone, and welcome back to part two of Create Expectations. So you know that I will tell you to go watch part one first.
Oh yeah,
Watch it,
yes.
right? On Zara's channel, like and comment and all that fun stuff, and then you can come back and watch part two, where I feel really bad that we ran out of time because we didn't even get to discuss the trigger photo. It's just up there.
Good. I hope that triggered some people.
But I mean, also, I feel like you should know better than to ask me a territory battle question right before we're going to end your half.
I just wanted to know the numbers. I was like, we're gonna get 30, or we were at 30. Now we're at 33. Okay, back to you, Adam, or Zareth. Oh no.
Real name slip ups.
Adam is my nerd name.
Yeah, there you go. Um, yeah, and instead I rambled about why we're jumping 3 stars.
Well, you have to admire my patience at least.
Sure. So anyway, it was a great trigger photo.
It was pretty great.
One of those that makes you just go, how and why.
It's wonderful. Yeah. Yeah, I
Uh,
mean that the opportunity for that, like you time out a split second before Hoda disappears. Like his disappearance isn't simultaneous with the death of the next character. So,
right. So
um,
it's just perfect timing.
it's wonderful. Yeah, I love to see photos like that. So I hope people feel bad looking at it. Clearly triggered. All right. So we have viewer questions now.
Yes. We have three. Um,
Ooh. I mean
which
that's enough to finish off this segment entirely.
uh, I know I actually I was just about to say two of them are about territory battles, so we might not get to anything else on this.
We should just let you answer all the GAC stuff, and I'll answer all of the territory battle stuff, and we'll be through the questions in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, there we go. Okay.
People won't have any good information, but the brevity will be admirable,
Yeah, it would be totally fine.
remarkable.
It would work. Okay, so first question. Sean Unavailable was asking, if you have all of the characters, which ones would you gear for the new territory battle?
I mean, so like you have all the characters; they're all 7-star,
Hmm.
gear 0 or gear 1.
Yeah, I guess it depends on I mean, they wouldn't all be
Like
that because if you had GLs.
I guess,
Come on,
unless it's like a Christmas miracle or something.
hacks.
But I mean, realistically, GLs are going to be the best, frankly.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, so we did put out like a suggested team farming list, so to speak, or character farming list. And I've had a few people message me about it to ask for clarification, and I probably should have been clear on it, but like GLs are generally top of the list, come first, and this was an add-on. Um,
Yeah, like Jabba, if you get him up to Relic 8 and Chrysanthemum to Relic 8, you're good for 4 phases.
right, right. And then, I mean, the other thing is Java has a mission in every phase. So,
Well, that's why I said you're good for 4 phases, like just 4 in a row. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Because right now, that's pretty much where the end, quote unquote, is for most people. Phase
Right.
three, phase four.
Yeah, like my guild is starting to look into doing platoons in like phase 5. But yeah,
Right,
you can just look at it. You can like splash around in the kiddie pool.
right, exactly. Um, Other than that, though, like I feel like it's like your typical teams that are doing well. Like there's nothing that I'm like, oh, shocked by that it is doing well.
Yeah, there's no new comps that I've really seen really like just kind of optimizing things. I
Hmm.
think Inquisition is a pretty obvious one because they're required for the Riva mission and then Riva is required for the next phase.
Right. Yeah, so
So that's kind of good.
you're gonna want them. And then actually even after that, when you look at phase 5, you also need, I think there's 3 of them required for a mission, including Eighth Brother. Uh,
Well, that ain't happening.
well, just letting you know.
Thank you.
Um, but like I've heard CLS is doing really well. Bad Batch is doing really well either. I don't know if it's on their own, but I know Shock leading them is working nicely. Rogue
Hmm.
One is working nicely. Resistance is working nicely. I've heard I've heard good things about the Finn Omicron. Like there's just a ton of fun stuff. I feel like I need to work on my Sith triumvirate for this solely for Dathomir.
Oh my gosh, Dathomir's the worst.
Dathomir is probably the worst planet.
Well, there's one mission that's the worst, and that's the one that you have to use Sith Eternal with. I mean, you don't have to. Like the second we find a team that you don't have to use Sith Eternal to get 2 of 2 on,
Right.
that it becomes a lot better. But like Sith Eternal mission takes like 20 plus minutes.
Yeah, I think the shortest I did it in was 15.
Well, thank you for rubbing it in.
You're
That you're
welcome. You're
faster.
welcome. You're welcome. But
I don't
yeah,
feel
I
like you
haven't.
mean that.
I will say, out of characters to gear, characters not to gear, I think the first one I can think of is Kit Fisto, even though he's needed for a mission. 100% that is a trap.
Yeah, because he's not even required for any platoons afterward, right?
He's not required for any platoons afterwards. He's not required for any other missions. Your guild will be able to 3-star that zone without completing that mission. So it is a trap.
Yeah, I. It's for the wave chasers.
100%. It's for the wave chasers. It is like if you are that bored with your roster and have literally nothing to do, I guess, Relic Kit Fisto, but no.
Well, because the combat missions don't really do that much. So if you're in a guild that it's like, well, you're gonna struggle to get all the stars
Hmm.
somehow, with your guild, with the guild that you're doing, are you using, like, uh, and you're a whale, you're like, all right, like I'm this benevolent, awesome guy who wants to help my smaller teammates succeed.
Right.
Like, you're gonna get Kid Fisto, and you're like, yeah, look at how cool I am. I'm doing the combat mission for you guys, and they'll be like, thanks, but that wasn't worth that much. So why'd you do it?
Right, exactly. So it's just not
Like,
going to it's not going to make a difference.
right? It doesn't move the needle really.
No. You will move the needle more naturally by having your guild's GP grow.
Right? Like people, like you're almost aided more by if you geared up Kit Fisto to Relic 5, you're almost helped more just by the GP that he gains
Just by
from
the
it.
deployment number.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's so sad because it's true. But yeah, it's things like that I would look at, and then um looking at,
Definitely like Relic 7 Clone Wars Chewie, right?
yeah, totally, totally. I was gonna say looking at the teams that you are using, and bringing them up to be consistent for you, and characters you're platooning so that you can work around it. But there's been nothing that's really shocked me in terms of use.
No, nothing too interesting. Just I think Jabba has to be the priority because he does a mission every time.
Yeah,
Like the required missions, so you can't just like put a hodgepodge of random crap and hope for one wave. It's like if you don't have Jabba, you can't do that mission.
right. It's him and the Inquisitors are probably priority number one.
And 2.
Yep. But it's pretty equal.
So they're both priority number 2.
Sure. 1A and 1B.
Which one is okay? Let's just
No.
go. So what? I feel like the next question is similar to this, isn't it?
Yeah, Osaki was asking how is the time commitment for Empire territory battle, combat, and special missions. So I'm actually curious on your take on this because specifically from your main, because you're able to attempt more missions than I am. Like
Hmm.
I don't have Java, so I can't do those. I don't have my Geonosians at Relic 7, so I can't do that
I,
mission. I
I
don't have
can't do that one either.
I don't have Afra. Like there's all these like missions that I'm like, I can't do this. I don't have Lord Vader, so can't do that one. Um, and for me, the time commitment is slightly less than light side territory battle, mainly because I have my teams worked out already. The first run was probably about the same, but now I'm like, okay, it's slightly less.
Well, okay, so it's about the same for me on a day, like on a, if I'm like doing a combat mission run, like I'm doing all my combat missions. The
Hmm.
problem is I have to do it 6 times instead of
Right,
four, like in the Geo one. Like every once in a while in the Geo one, you got to skip a day. You just didn't have to do anything
right.
because it was only 4 waves or whatever, 4 phases. This one is 6 phases, and I have to do attacks for all four, and like so if you take the total amount of time I'm spending on it, it's significantly more. It's awful, actually. It's like an extra hour and a half that I have to spend every territory battle. Just bonus hour and a half on the game, yay.
Hmm. For the whole week, hour and a half, not a day.
Right, it's like 45 minutes per phase basically for me.
Right. That's fair.
I mean, it's not, it kind of pisses me off, to be honest. I didn't I I don't want to be like that guy who's like, I told you so, but I kind of want to like it. People are like, people use the proof, like it as proof. Oh, we're only doing 2 waves. It's clearly, Zareth, clearly your misgivings were unfounded.
Hmm.
You know, like 2 waves, it's easy. Like we'll just be done. You know, we'll go get beers afterward. I'm like, you can have really long lasting waves though. Like it could take a really long time to get through those two.
The problem is like, yeah, it's two waves, but it's four battles a zone instead of in light side geo. Some zones only had one battle in them.
Yeah.
Like you had a whole fleet path that would only have one battle, sometimes two.
I really hope we get to to a situation where Geonosis, or sorry,
Hmm.
not Geonosis, the Dathomir doesn't require anyone to use to do use Sith Eternal. Like we could just skip one combat mission each or something,
Right.
because that also that just adds an extra 20 minutes. You know, it's obnoxious as hell.
It is. Like there's I mean, okay, so if you're not going to use Sith Eternal, realistically you're going to use Lord Vader on a mission,
Yep,
Kylo on a mission.
yep. And then there's a Riva mission.
Not
Uh,
not
not a
on
Riva. Sorry,
Dathomir.
sorry. I said Riva. I meant Afra.
Right. But so you have two Dark Side and Empire and Afra on Dathomir, right?
Yeah.
So you have Afra, Lord Vader goes to Empire, let's say. Kylo goes to one of the dark sides, and then some kind of team with Watt.
Yeah, probably what I'm gonna do is just go and fail it and say I tried something crazy.
And it didn't work.
Yeah,
Uh yeah, because otherwise, yes, it's Eternal just takes too long.
it does. It's obnoxious. Like it's burnout level. So I don't want to do that. I mean, it's very consistent, I guess, but the problem being you can't have Sith Eternal as the lead
Right.
because he doesn't allow the revives that mission requires, and so you put him on the side. But then the linked characters don't have or don't give him his ultimate bar.
Right. You're just waiting slowly.
Very slowly. And you can't just one shot things with lightning, really, unless they're linked. But one of the links is usually going to have to be zombie. And it's because the acolytes all hide, they all stealth, and uh,
You
it's
have
so
to
so
time
dumb.
the time that I did it in 15 minutes, I was timing it so that I could get the links on the two acolytes.
Yeah, that's good.
And that's like the only way I shortened which like okay, saved a few minutes of my time, but it's still long. So yeah, yeah,
Miserable. Yeah, it overall it's more time. Like it makes Hell Week that much worse. Because I'm also farming as much of conquest as I can, so I can. I mean, it's cronquest, right? Like that. I'm trying to farm as many datacrons as I can, and CG like hasn't relented there either. They're like, well, if you want datacrons, you have to spend hours every day trying to farm them.
right,
In addition, just potentially spending money.
right.
I'm apparently very negative about this whole time interaction. I didn't realize.
It is a decent amount of time. I will not argue with you about that.
Excellent.
So, uh, okay. So last question.
Yes, please.
So Rebarian was asking if there was one mechanic or system that you could remove from one game mode, what would it be? And is there a mechanic or system you'd like to see added to another game mode?
What's your response?
I mean, to remove a mechanic, I feel like Datacrons is a cop out answer because most people want to remove Datacrons.
Like you would just delete datacrons, you're saying?
Yeah, but I feel like that's a
Theoretically.
cop out, so I don't know if that counts. If I should.
I agree with that, with your cop out thing. I think, sure, I would also actually still push the delete button on datacrons. Even though I enjoy them,
Hmm.
I would still push the delete button. It's not going to happen. And I don't think that it's, dwelling in that fact
Hmm.
yeah, that is a cop out. Because you're right. That's a very popular sentiment, and I don't necessarily disagree.
Right. So I don't know if I would remove any mechanics specifically. I would remove the skill squish.
Okay.
Is that a mechanic or is that just math?
I mean, it's a thing that helps things work. Like when it's working well, it's actually good. It's just not working the way it should right now.
Right.
Well, you're barely getting squished down compared to me. Like
Barely.
how much did you lose this time?
I mean, okay, like I understand your point in that my point amount is smaller. I've been squished to the point that I can't get past a wall now.
Okay, I mean, and I'm even farther. Like I had a winning season last season on both of my accounts, and I'm
Mhm.
still bad. Like we're all circling the drain.
Yeah.
So I feel like if they fixed it, it would be better. But
Um, okay, but do you have something that you would remove? Because I genuinely,
yeah,
I don't know if I can think of something that I would remove out of the game.
okay. I think well, so. Just like taking things out. I mean, I think for me, I'd want a lot of things to be added. Frankly, like
Right.
I would want sim buttons on a ton of stuff.
Yeah, we need some buttons everywhere.
And in a way, that's kind of removing, because it removes our need to, you know, actually, do these things. I think. Well, okay, so here's one thing I would remove. I would remove the asinine length of time it takes to get your ultimate after you get a galactic
Ooh,
legend.
yeah. Yeah, the whole ticket system is real dumb.
Yeah, I kind of hate it a lot. In fact,
I I would rather it be, I mean, maybe not even this, but like something instead of like tickets, have it be like, okay, you can attempt this and then I don't know, wait X amount of time before you attempt the next tier or something. But like the whole ticket thing seems stupid.
yeah, I think it's just so frustrating because you have to work so hard to finally unlock a character, and like they've already assigned you a bunch of characters that you didn't want to gear in the first place. It's like gosh,
Right.
Rose Tico or whatever, like Krennic. There's a ton of them that you don't want to gear, and then you finally get them, and then it takes you forever to unlock. Like it takes another week to unlock if you're doing a ton of refreshes. Um,
Right.
and then you finally get them, but you can't really use them to their full capacity till you've done those ruinous amount of refreshes another 2 weeks. Like, And you also have to gear this character from 0 all the way to relic 8 a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of times their team really wants more relics. Like it's just such an enormous, annoying undertaking. And like they're like, oh hey, you think you have this character, but you don't, but you don't. Like you just don't get him. You don't get him. Like can't. No, hands off, hands off. It's like stop trying. It's just obnoxious.
Yeah. I just don't understand why it's needed because you've gone through getting all of these requirements ready. And
Yeah,
it's the most requirements for anything to unlock.
yeah. That's why I really liked that pack that they had. I don't know if it's still out there.
The $5 one.
Yeah, that gives you a
Yeah.
bunch of tickets like that. That's amazing. I love that. That's very player friendly.
Mhm. I believe it is. Someone saw it the other day.
it's
So
it's like a rare beast that you're like, no,
uh,
it's in the forest. It's
I
in the
hope it
forest out there
I hope it
somewhere.
still is because I fully intend to buy that once I'm going for Java.
Yeah, I'm doing that too for Professor X if it's still there,
Okay.
which I probably will never. I'll probably never get Jabba farmed, but that's another story.
Don't tell me that. Yeah, okay, so we would add sim buttons, add fleet loadouts.
So the really big thing I would add, actually, for sim buttons specifically, is once you get red crate, make
Yeah.
all of the nodes simmable. Please, God, make them simmable.
Yeah.
Because I can get red crate in a week, and then I just don't want to have to farm 6 refreshes worth every single day after that. It's miserable. Like I'll still spend the crystals. Just let me sim it.
And I mean, if the argument there is like, oh, you need to have stamina, whatever, deplete. Okay, let me tell you which 5 characters to take stamina off of.
Sure. Well, yeah. Like make me do one sim at a time. That's fine.
Right. At least they're still simming it.
So obnoxious. Yeah, you just reach this burnout point, 6 refreshes. I mean, I know that most people don't do that, but it's a lot, man. It's tough, and if you want to compete at the higher level, like you just have to. So, you know, yay me, woo,
Yeah, you.
woo. Yeah. So, just that. That's all. Yeah, fleet loadouts would be nice.
Fleet loadouts would be great.
It'd be great.
Absolutely great. Um, okay. I think that's it then for viewer questions.
Okay.
And there's no pack to review because we've reviewed them all already.
All right. Well, that's some time back.
And there's no web store exclusiveness.
That's
Although
probably
I will
good too.
say the web store pack, the freebie one, this month is pretty good. If you're not getting it, you get 100 free energy again.
It doesn't suck.
It doesn't suck, and you get 50 crystals with it too, plus a
Is it the
character
whole
shard.
month, or is it just for like a week or whatever?
I think it's the whole month. I haven't heard otherwise.
It's pretty good.
So 100 free energy? Hell yeah.
Well, I mean that's 1,500 free crystals as well.
1,500? Oh, for the whole month.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna trust your math on that.
Well, yeah. It's for 10 days. If you get 50 per day, that's going to be 500. If you do that all the way for 30 days, it's going to be 1,500.
Right. I said I trusted you.
You said it in a way that said you don't trust me.
No.
So we're in the game already.
We're in the game.
Whoa, madness.
Okay. So do we want to roast a roster while we're in the game? Or are we doing a character review? We're doing a character review.
I thought we were doing a character review.
We are. We are. I forgot about them. Okay? Don't blame me.
Just the simple offense of having forgotten about someone.
It's fine. Candorous doesn't care.
Why do you have him at Relic 5 out of curiosity?
So I could put a Datacron on the team.
Okay, fair enough. I guess Maul. Because you don't have Lord Vader, it makes sense.
Right. There were Mandalorian Datacrons.
There were indeed. So, what do you like about Candorous?
He goes with my mall.
What does he do?
He puts dots everywhere
Okay.
and makes people sad.
Like, you're making me sad right now.
Uh, I know that he can possibly triple tap on his basic. Is that right?
He
Maybe
can,
double.
yeah. Which also gives tenacity down sometimes. I think on the third
Right.
one.
And then he's got his AoE on a special. It feels like a very straightforward kit. Like there's nothing crazy that I can think of.
Also, why does he want to be with Maul? Can you answer that? Just out of curiosity, just to gauge, like
Doesn't he fuel Maul's frenzy craziness?
he does because of his crazy turn meter gain.
Right. And then Maul
So
takes all the turns and you're sad.
right, so you need a character that goes before anyone. So like someone like really fast, like Gideon, or a Droideka that's fast, or Watt can do it, and you need him to do a special so that Maul can trigger his frenzy.
Mm-hmm.
He'll do his AOE so we can get 2 more stacks of anguish, and then the thing is he calls everyone to assist, and then can you click on I forget which unique it is. Can you click on the first one? I guess,
Mm-hmm.
please. Let's see, health steal. Let's see. He afflicts. Okay, so the next one, I think. I mean, you can click off of the Zeta one, so you can read the whole thing. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, okay. So when it says whenever an enemy with a damage over time effect is damaged by an attack, Candorous gains 8% turn meter. The thing is, so Maul calls everyone to assist, and then it's not. There's actually this hidden mechanic here where Candorous actually just gains turn meter
Right.
every time someone does damage, even if they don't have the dots. And so he gains 8% turn meter for everyone who's assisting Maul in that case.
So that's broken.
I mean, you could say that. Like, I think that would be one way to define it. The other way is to be like, well, they haven't changed his kit a single bit since he's been released forever,
Right.
and it's like this is clearly they don't see it as an issue. Like this is how he works. It's just written poorly. Like in a way, I would say the writing is broken, not the mechanic itself.
Right. Fair. Okay.
So, I mean, the second they fix it, his utility goes way down. But he gains so much turn meter that even though he's a relatively slow character, on a
Mm-hmm.
5v5 comp, you actually have to have him, like, you can have him be the slowest. You can have him with no speed at all. And he'll still go next because he's gaining so much turn meter, because everyone's assisting Maul.
Right. Which makes sense.
Right, so in 3v3, you kind of want him to be a little faster because everyone's shooting, but there's only 3 of you.
Right. So not as much turn meter gain.
Right, not even close. So, in fives, he can be really slow, and in threes, you want him faster, but then he can do his AoE, trigger the frenzy again, and then Maul can do his anguish and demolish people, crush souls, etc.
And just make everyone sad.
Yeah, give everyone else anguish.
Yeah, exactly. Um, would you use Candorous on a team without Maul? Or do you consider them to basically be married?
I consider him to be a disposable appendage for Maul. Is what I like. Maul can be good with him or without him, depending on the
Hmm.
comp.
Hmm.
But like, if you find Candorous somewhere in like a reputable comp, like there's all sorts of people who do stupid things. If so, like they'll throw Candorous somewhere. But I don't see him having a place without Maul also being on the team.
Okay, fair.
He's like a less vital version of Cat to Kenobi.
Okay. Right. Because once you take Cat away from Kenobi, Kenobi is just real bad.
Well, he can be, but I mean, like he's still viable against a few different builds and stuff, right? Like, but yeah, like she's like very vital for Kenobi for the
Hmm.
most part, and with some very small exceptions. But like Maul is like, yeah, I don't have Candorous, but I guess I'm fine for now. Like in this build, I don't need him.
Right. It'll be fine. Um, So the uh uh like other really big thing right now with set 6 is you have scoundrel datacrons, and Candorous gets a datacron. He is a level 9, 7, 9, whatever.
Nine. Niner. He needs Relic 7 to use Niner.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I always get them swapped around. So he's got a level 9 datacron, which makes him more fun. I can't use it because he's relic 5.
Right, you can actually use some aspects of it though, still, because the scoundrel stuff is pretty good, and you get bonus turns or whatever. Like, there's a lot of different things you can get, and the level 3 is all arguably more important than his level 9, even though his level
Mm-hmm.
9 is really really solid. The armor pen or the armor shred, whatever it's called, and it adds a lot. The really awesome thing here is you can add that datacron with plus 20% turn meter
Mm-hmm.
to per dark side character on the squad to the weakest. And so I mean, I jumped through the hoops on my main account to make my armorer the weakest, like weaker than Candorous.
So that she gets all the turn meter,
Right, so even though she's light side, she still gains 40% turn meter from Maul and Candorous.
which is so weird.
It is. It's weird. When you read it real closely, it's like, oh, okay. Well, they kind of worded it the right way,
Right.
actually, for that to happen. But I can totally understand why people would read it and just assume that only applies to dark side on any aspect of it.
Right. Well, yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, the awesome thing is that now you don't need a really fast character to be able to get the Maul team going. Like before, it was, well, you have to have a fast character, a character that goes before anyone else, so that no one can disrupt you.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can just have an average speed character and have them be the weakest, and then they'll suddenly get so much turn meter that they'll go before a lot of really really fast teams, and
Mm-hmm.
then Candorous will follow it up, and he'll go with his AOE, and Maul will be able to anguish people.
Right. And then you're laughing.
Yeah, just lulzing. It's great.
Um, Anything else you like about Candorous in particular?
Um, I like that he's from Knights of the Old Republic.
Okay, fair. Fair.
Otherwise, I think I still don't know about his Zeta, frankly.
I was just gonna say, is his Zeta like a necessary thing? He gains crit damage up for 2 turns
I
whenever an
mean,
enemy taunts or becomes death marked or marked.
I think it's kind of nice, frankly. Like you don't have a way to get death mark on any of the teams that he's typically on, and you don't typically mark people. And mark is like kind of a nod at working with Jedi Revan, right?
Right.
Um,
Right.
but I mean, it's going to be interesting. So yeah, like crit damage up. It's funny because the Lord Vader team marks themselves, right? Like when you get rid of the taunt, then they mark themselves, but then you have crit damage up, but then you can't crit them because they're below 80% health.
Right. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, so every time they gain, but the taunt is super. Like every team has taunt, at least a lot of them do, and crit
Hmm.
damage up is, I mean, for him, like especially now that he's going to be relic 7 for a lot of people, I don't. This is a luxury Zeta for sure, but it's not that far removed, frankly. Like this is one of the better luxury ones in my opinion because he shoots a lot. He is, and it's very like you're gonna get crit damage up a lot because people taunt a lot. Yes, Maul's going to be doing a lot of damage, but he needs his secondary damage dealers to also contribute, and Candorous is one of them.
Right. He can't just do it all by himself.
Right, like Django is super helpful there, of course, but the Candorous is like yeah, I think it's very worthwhile if you're going to use that squad a lot.
Okay. Cool. Fair. Um, Anything else? Do we want to roast the roster?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. How much time do we have to roast the roster?
Negative 4.5 minutes.
Oh boy. We are right on target.
Stay on target.
Uh,
It'll
All
be
right.
okay.
So
All right, who do we
we're
got?
we're ready.
We've got Ewell Lipsick, and they're on Berg Vader's Wake. Do you recognize the BRG thing?
I do recognize the BRG. I don't know what it is for or from, but I do recognize it.
So, like, functionally, you don't, though.
I feel like I've seen a bunch of guilds that have BRG in front of them.
Right, but like they're an enigma. They may as well.
Sure.
Okay, very well. All right, so Kyber 4.
Yes. 5.2.
Okay, that's not bad actually. Getting into Kyber at all at that level is probably decent, pretty good.
Right? Okay. So, ships.
Sure, 5-star executor. I see.
Hmm. So, oh, okay.
Not many ships.
So seven. So he's missing
Finalizer, Radis, and
profundity
yeah,
and 2 stars on malevolence.
and 2 stars. Wow, on malevolence even. And 2 stars on Wedge.
Poor
His
Wedge.
X-wing. He's so easy to farm. Just farm it. Just stop not farming it.
I am kind of surprised that he's got executor already, but not finalizer or Radis.
Yeah. So that tells us he doesn't have Rey, doesn't have Supreme Leader Kylo, doesn't have Jedi Master Luke because his Kenobi's only. Oh wait, maybe is it Kenobi that requires Relic 8? So he doesn't have Kenobi. Never mind.
Right.
I don't know about Jedi Luke. Gosh, only a Gear 12 on Grievous as well, which is like just get him to relics, man. He's so good at relics. He's total crap below relics.
Yeah. But no Jedi Master Luke because Wedge is needed for I think Jedi Knight
That's
Luke.
true.
So
True.
no Jedi Master Luke either.
So not focusing on GLs. He has Sith Eternal.
Right. Okay.
How's his other farms coming? Clone Sergeant, not
I mean,
Battalion Receptor. These are all
yeah.
easily farmable in the Galactic War Store. Easily, like a lot of these are. Oh man, look at these poor Geo ships.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, it's 5 million, but my alt had these my alt's alt is what I call it, Professor X,
Right.
or not Professor
Uh
X, Prevail
Prevail
Man.
Man.
Yeah, at like below 4 million GP, I had all of these farmed because you should have these farmed. Like you have a
Oh.
Relic Rex, but you can't use a ship. Like that's wasted utility.
Well, and this kind of I could almost understand the no form farming for like the first order ships because you don't even have finalizer, which like is going to hurt you because now you can't get finalizer and it's a vicious circle. But you've got a relic 7 negotiator.
Yeah, I mean, and you should be working on finalizers so you don't have to spend crystals on it once you get like you can just slow farm it for a couple years and get it up to 7. Like that's
Right.
what Professor X did, and no regrets. It's nice to have an extra fleet, and finalizer is very very functional. Like does a lot of good
Mm-hmm.
work in the
Mm-hmm.
current fleet meta. So yeah, lot of work to do here. Really focus on farming those ships. I know that people don't. They're like, "Well, I'm not using them. Why should I?" I'm like, "But you could be using them. Like, just because you're not using them doesn't mean you like shouldn't be."
The other thing too is like you never know how things are going to swing, right? So you could not be using it now and then all of a sudden be like, oh, I have these ships farmed and this is the new ship meta and we're good to
Right.
go. Um, but yeah,
Well, yeah,
keeping
and then you're just sorry out of luck. You're just like, oh, well, I guess I can't use that fleet
right.
for a long time because I have to farm my very farmable team. Like my characters. It's like, oh wow, Wedge isn't showing up in the GW shipments. It's like, well, I don't care, frankly. Like, stop complaining because you could have farmed him for years before
Right.
this.
Relic 5 dash.
I know, so probably Star Killer, but no Outrider.
Right. I'm just curious if that's where we're headed here. I because like I did look at this earlier at the roster earlier a little bit, and
Oh,
not to spoil this for you, but all I will say is I could not figure out where they were going next.
okay. Well, I can't either, based on ships. They're
So,
probably. I'll tell you where they're probably going next. Is Erodium. Back to Erodium with
uh,
you.
do you want to look at Datacrons at
Yeah,
all?
just for a sec. I mean, you don't expect this GP to have many. Yeah,
Right.
that's pretty. That's. I mean, you probably want something that you can support with Sith Eternal, like whatever Galactic Legends you have. I feel like that's like the cutoff, the minimum cutoff for
Hmm.
people. In my opinion, like even if you don't like Datacrons, it's like if you don't like mods, you still would need to have mods if you're going to compete. And in my opinion, have something that supports your Galactic Legend, the Galactic Legends you have, and then the rest is gravy, really. But like just have a couple of the key ones, like really focus on a couple, and you can, anyone can, even without spending money. It's just, people have decided that they don't think they can or something.
Right. Right. Okay. Characters.
Yes, ma'am.
So, the Eternal.
Okay, no other GLs. And I mean, at this GP, that's probably fine if you have some decent work done on other requirements, which, like you said, probably not. So it's too bad.
Right. I'm curious where they're going next, basically. Wampa Omicron.
They have a decent CLS squad, you can tell. CLS is 7, Han is 7,
Hmm.
Wamp is 7 with the Omicron.
It's
Cool.
got cat.
Okay.
Okay.
So far, I mean, I like all these characters at this top. Like, there's no extraneous, just like random weirdness here.
Yeah.
You know.
There's Mon Mothma, so maybe.
Oh yeah, that's a Jedi Master Luke thing. But
But okay.
oh, she's also required for profundity.
Right. That's true. Which Dash's Outrider is required. And Dash is required for
Yeah.
profundity.
So I mean, maybe they just started farming the Outrider or something, or maybe they're just saving their stars or something. I guess we could look at the other Rogue One stuff. They got Padme up to 5, so that shows that that's a nod to Datacrons because you
Yeah.
don't really need her for anything until she's 8. So she needs 8. So
Right, for Vader. I mean, there's a lot that's relic for Datacron use, it looks like.
all right, they got Savage. Like this is
Hmm.
they're looking at GAC stuff. They have the Mace Omicron at Relic 3 on Mace. Okay,
I've got Qui-Gon.
yeah. Um, they do have Watt Relic, so he's a bit like you could get Kenobi actually, and he
Hmm.
has Cat. He should be working on Kenobi. What's going on? Like usually Watt is the limiting factor a lot of times for getting Jedi Master Kenobi. Or if you
Right.
don't have Cat, there's no point in getting Kenobi, but he also has Cat. So
Maybe he is working on Kenobi and I just didn't spot it. We can look.
he's
Where
just
do
bad at making decisions. I mean, he doesn't have Clone Sergeant with any gear. So
True.
I don't think he's 5 required for Kenobi. All right, I mean, this is kind of top heavy. Like, there's a lot of relics here for a 5 million account.
Yeah. He's
And
got to be
then,
going for profundity because there's Biston.
okay. Um, it, Gosh, poor Grievous, man. So bad.
Oh man.
Especially you don't even have all his health gear. Like, he's so bad at this level. He could be such an asset, and you've chosen the way of pain.
The Way of Pain. Okay. I just want to look at his Rogue One because
Oh
now I'm
wait, go
curious.
down real quick before you
Yep.
do that. Go down one. I want to see Straya. Okay, no Omicron.
No
Okay,
Omicron.
no Omicron.
I'm now curious if he is working on.
I mean, this is like the
Um,
beginning of working on it, right? Like he's put the Omicron on Radis and the Zetas.
Right.
He put Gear 12 on Cassian, Gear 11 on Jin. Like you can tell that that's his focus. That's a fine focus, frankly. Like I don't think you should be focusing on everything with to the exclusion of like you should be in the background working on Finalizer, in my opinion.
Okay. That's fair. Um,
And Bist is such a weird one to get done first. It's like
that is.
I guess for his ship because Scarif Rebel Pathfinder is also Gear 12,
Yeah.
which is like half of the carbs he's ever earned on this account.
He's so carb hungry. And then yeah, and
Yeah.
Cassian's almost ready to be relicked, so yeah.
I mean, I can applaud the focus on fleets, except when you look at this fleet, it's just total garbage. So it's kind of mixed signals, but all right.
Uh did you have a different faction you wanted to look at in particular?
We've probably been going too long, anyways. Just look at troopers real quick. I think they have good troopers, actually.
I mean, he's got C.
All right. Well, I noticed that he had a Relic 7 Dark Trooper. So, I mean, this is a good team. Like yeah, like you want to be able to use you really want to be able to use this team against like Galactic Legends and stuff for off meta counters. So, I mean, right now with set 6, you could honestly like use it with Watt and then get
Mm-hmm.
a plus 20 cron, plus 20 turn meter cron, and this will delete most Lord Vader squads
Which
actually
is
before Lord
insane.
Vader even gets a turn.
Which is nuts.
Yeah, I sent you that footage today of my alt doing it with a bunch of just
Yeah.
hodgepodge bonus characters. So yeah, it works.
Yeah. Um, okay. I can't remember what the requirements are for Kenobi, but
Shakti's one of them. Relic 7, I think.
yep, yep.
I think. Clone
Co-
Sergeant and Cody.
and Cody, so not quite there.
This guy just doesn't like to farm things. His bad batch aren't farmed. It's a damn shame.
Yep. So
All
going for
right.
profundity, which and then I think he would either go for Kenobi or to Jedi Master Luke, but he needs Jedi Knight Luke.
Well, he's called Katar. Like, so he's got dash, but then he doesn't have the other Star Killer requirements either. It's actually, honestly, like I'm a little impressed that he's managed to use this hodgepodge of crap to get into Kyber 4.
Maybe it's the Omicrons.
Maybe.
I'm I mean,
It's
and
not the Datacrons.
only
It's
with
not the
C.
ships.
Only with C. Like that means
Hmm.
like you're not putting C on defense, I would think.
Right. I mean, unless that's how he's getting holds, is just like somehow he's walling. But yeah, like this, he's got a few different decent teams, but he's got no Datacrons. He's got no top level counter stuff. It's I mean, good for him, I guess. But
Hmm.
you could still improve your roster by a huge margin. Just keep going. Focus on ships more, please.
Ships. Always ships.
And they're probably the most important thing in the game, unfortunately.
That's true. All right. Um, I think that's it.
Okay, guys. We'll see you next week
Yeah.
for episode 50. Wow.
Holy.